Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to The Big Show, the Big 3 DFS Show. Last show going on here of the NFL regular season. As always, joined by the money man, the ATX, Adam Wagner, and Chris Sweet from Frederick, Maryland. Fellas, are the tissues out since this is the last week of the regular season, or is this a happy time of culmination for everyone?
My tissues have been out, man. Rumors of Coughlin being on the leave. He's out the door. Maybe he might not be coming back for the Giants. Finishing second place in a season-long contest last week. Yeah, my tissues have been out, bro.
Sweet, the final Philip Rivers start of the Chargers era.
Yeah, if I didn't get all cried out a few weeks ago, I'd probably be really sad this week because we're looking at Malcolm Floyd's last game, possibly the last game as Antonio Gates as a Charger, probably the last game as the Chargers in San Diego, so also the last game that this gentleman cheers for that organization. Although I will continue to root for Philip Rivers, but that's how it's going to be.
This is the world that we live in. It's all about what have you done for me lately. And, on here on the show, I think we've done a pretty damn good job for all our listeners lately. A lot of people making money this season. I know I had a guy yesterday not yesterday, but the 31st, used my NBA article, ended up winning $8,000. So if you haven't been right down here to this website, down here, right, yes, there it is, alwalsdfs.com, all your NBA needs. I'm not giving you just lineups. You get the hell on with that shit. We're going to teach you how to play the game. We're going to teach you how to play it the right way. We're going to do some damn good things. But this is the NFL season. We will get into it. So, we have a couple spots at stake here for the big dance here in the NFL playoffs. Obviously all of our teams not in the mix, but New York Jets, I guess they are the most. We'll kick this off with them. We'll go most playoff relevant games first in our show today. But the Jets, 3-point favorites in Buffalo. 41 is the over/under and a half. 77% of the bets are on the Jets. Now I gotta bring this one up in my weekly 4-for-4 pick'em pool each week. Basically, you get the lines of how they actually start. We've talked about this a million times. But the Bills were actually 3-point favorites on this. And I even asked the guy, I said, hey, is this a typo? Is this something unusual going on here? But the Bills initially a 3-point favorite. Now, if you look at the Vegas odds, the initial line was a pick'em. So something got mixed up in translation somewhere along the line. But I can't let go of that Bills 3-point favorite here. I think they're going to win it today over the Jets.
I mean, who likes to play spoiler better than Sexy Rexy, huh?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, and who wants to stick it better to his old team than Rex Ryan? That's just his type of mentality that this guy has. And yeah, you're right, man. I can't believe that they're favored either. Especially the way the Jets been playing, man.
Yeah, the Jets are now a 3-point favorite, but that has a lot to do with the way that the money was going. Obviously, just said 77% of the bets are on the Jets, as they probably should be. Obviously they have a lot to play for, but you got to think too on the other side of this with all these teams that are trying to make the playoffs going against a team with nothing to play for. This is basically their playoff game.
Right.
And you see it every season where a team with nothing to play for will come out and just upend a team trying to get into the playoffs. Now, whether that's the team trying to get into the playoffs thinks that the other side has nothing to play for, and they might not, take it as seriously. Well, they should, this is their turn to get into the playoffs as well. So, definitely something to look out for in today's games. But from a fantasy perspective, we know it's going to be snowing in Buffalo today. This is actually the first NFL game this year that we have snow. Amazing that it took up until week 17. But from a fantasy perspective, what do we like there?
I like Brandon Marshall, hands down. It don't matter what's on the field. If it's snow, rain, sleet, hail, snow, it could be flooded. The guy's played in inclement weather his whole career, and he's performed. Look, his track record doesn't lie. Denver, he's produced. Chicago, he's produced. What's it do there? It snows. I like Brandon Marshall. We, of course, I'm not going to take away the whole team, but his counterpart on the other side of the field, Eric Decker. He's also Mr. Consistency. If it's one of those two that I'm going to take today, it's Brandon Marshall. He's in my lineup.
All right, sweet. What you got here?
Yeah, I think you can't go wrong with Brandon Marshall. He's quietly been, probably a top 3 wide receiver this year in a season-long fantasy. I know a few of my buddies won their leagues with him. The guy I actually like today is Chris Ivory, because if they are going to win this game, they're going to have to keep the lead. They're going to have to pound it out on the ground. I think Bilal Powell, we're not sure if he's playing. Is that correct? I know.
He's listed as questionable, but I don't think he's going to go. Even if he does go, there's reports saying that he hasn't practiced all week. And it just doesn't look good. So
so I think this could be a sneaky spot to get Chris Ivory at a cheaper price than he has been most of the year. He definitely wore down, but this could be just a good spot to get him in there. I actually like going a little cheaper at running back this week. I'll mention more of that later, I'm sure. But on the other side of the ball, go ahead.
It's a war of attrition. I mean, so Chris Ivory's been banged up, been nicked up. It's been given Powell opportunity to produce. It's kind of been a dual-headed threat there in the backfield for the Jets. So this could be another return to prominence, pretty much, for Chris Ivory.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm expecting, and you're going to have to grab a few of those guys this week where you're not 100% sure if they're going to get all the carries or not, because I think there's just so much uncertainty in Week 17.
Here. See, I'm seeing Sexy Rexy come in already. He's ready for the stadium, man. The Cavs on Rex Ryan view, baby.
I think the Bills are winning this game though. With I think both of you guys. This is a classic Rex. I'm gonna stick it to my X team. They already beat him in New York, so I don't know. I think the Steelers fans are gonna be happy today, most likely.
Just to piggyback on what Sweet said, I think Chris Ivory is the play here in this game. Very, very cheap here in DraftKings. I believe $4,400 is his price today. Bilal Powell, even if he does see the field, I don't think it's going to be anything meaningful. And surprisingly, Buffalo has not been that good against the run here of late. So, and not only of here of late, but throughout the entire season, they've kind of been a little porous there. Got some unhappy guys there, mainly Mario Williams, probably not going to be back in Buffalo. So he might be auditioning for the free agent team of his choice going on here in the offseason. But yeah, I mean, not too much. I mean, Sammy Watkins has been pretty good down the stretch, but he does go up against Darrelle Revis, who is going to be full on, Top Gun.
Absolutely.
Missile locked in on him today, with a chance to go to the playoffs. So
it is a playoff game, brother.
It is.
Like you said earlier, it's a playoff game, man. With
for both teams.
Steelers, with the Steelers, creeping down the net, or pretty much, right down the backs of the Jets. They got to win. All teams have to win.
Absolutely, and Kansas City has already locked up their playoff spot. So that is, now granted, Kansas City could drop down to 6 if they lose today, and the Jets win and jump up to 5. But one playoff spot up for grabs in the AFC. So definitely a major game going on there.
And if you got a little twisted with what my brother Al was saying there, we're going to break down the playoff scenario later on in the show, right before we get off, just so everybody's seeing the big picture of schemes. But if not, it's easy. You can go to NFL.com and you can see it for yourself. It's pretty clear. It's pretty cut and dry.
I'm not sure if we have enough time to break down what the Colts need to happen, though, to make the playoffs.
Oh, my goodness. Never mind. All right, let's talk about the New England Patriots traveling to MIA. They are 9.5-point favorites as of now. Over-unders at 46.5. 73% of the bets are on the Patriots, as they should be. New England, they will lock up a number 1 seed here in the AFC East with victory today. So we can expect to see a lot of Tom Brady. And if you want to get wild and crazy, as I always say, if you like to jump through rings of fire, then you can take a crack at this New England running back situation today. Last week, everybody thought it was going to be the James White show. Yeah, he did get in the end zone, but Brandon Bolden had a lot of the touches. And, now that Steven Jackson is here in New England, I've been reading some things saying that they're going to try to get him not a full workload, but damn near it today, just to prep him up for the playoffs. So, what do you think here? Anything on Miami either? This is a 9.5-point spread for New England.
No, I'm sorry. I don't have much faith in or stock in Miami. And I was the guy that had Tannehill as number one, like 4 actually. He was my 4th rated quarterback going into this year. God, he made me look like a fool, or I made myself look like a fool. Anyhow, yeah, I don't have much stock in the Miami offense. I really believe that the Patriots defense is going to come out and produce a turnover or two, and maybe even a defensive score with Tannehill, throwing the ball. They go down to Miami. That saves Tannehill a little bit of a, nightmare, so to speak, playing in Gillette. But anyhow, man, yeah, I like James White. I'm going to take a shot on him. 5,000 on DraftKings. I figure why not? If he produces at least 15, he gets you times 3. So take a shot. It's worth the risk. You figure the playoffs start. 2 weeks they want to start for New England. They want that bye, so this is pretty much rest them up. Like you said, get Jackson a little bit of a workload, and then tweak stuff in practice next week for the bye. So I see a lot of James White. It's a risk, but I mean it's 5,000.
Sure. Sweet. We got.
Yeah, I think if you're going to spend up on anyone in this game, it's going to be Rob Gronkowski. I think he's going to finish the season off with a bang. They got to play. They got to win to get the number 1 seed. I expect them to do that. I expect it to not be too hard, but I think Gronk's got some incentives where if you hit certain numbers. So I think a lot of teams look to get their guys at, and I'll mention more of that later as well. But I think Gronk is the guy if I'm targeting anybody and spending up at any position. It's probably that. James White definitely has been solid the last few weeks. He's like a lighter version of what Deion Lewis was earlier this year. So he's still getting you some catches. Seems like he's getting a touchdown every week. So, and then I had Keyshawn Martin last week. I actually played him, and he did okay. So that's another guy. If you don't want to spend much money at that position, they don't got guys out there catching the ball right now. So he's showing them something. He'll gain a little bit of trust. So. Yeah, I don't know. That's another guy. I'm not going with him this week, but I did roster him last week.
Yes, a tremendous call last week. Now I'm going to go to the other side of things because I think Miami's going to have plenty of opportunities to run this ball or to throw this ball today. So Jarvis Landry there at 6,600. Yeah, that's fine, but if you want to go to a little cheaper, and I know that you have to spend up to get a couple guys like a Gronk today or a Brady if you want, or maybe a Cam Newton if you want to go that route. But you will need some cheaper guys, and I think Devontae Parker there at 4,100 could be very nice for the Dolphins, especially if this one gets out of hand. You might want to see what their rookie has going forward for the future. I can see a touchdown out of him in garbage time, but again, New England should be up, very, very convincing in this one. Yeah, I mean, look, I don't think Miami's going to totally lay down and die. I think Man Campbell will be ready to roll for this team. And this team they played their best football when they were down in the dumps and out of everything. So again, this goes back to that whole thing. This is the Dolphins' playoff game right here. So look out for them for a little bit of offense today. And we go next to Baltimore, Cincinnati. Cincinnati's a 10-point favorite here. Over under 41. This could get real ugly for Baltimore. I understand that this is the Ryan Mallett show in Baltimore now, but just not looking that good for them. My favorite play in this one's the Cincinnati defense. 3,300 is their price on DraftKings. That's correct. Again, Bengals trying to lock up some. I think they locked up the division already, but they want to hold on to that 3 seed right there. They can possibly get to 2 if the Broncos lose later on today, but who the hell knows? I mean, this is a very pesky San Diego Chargers bunch. So yeah, from this game for me, it's the defense with Cincinnati, but I think that's where it lays and dies. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I don't have anybody in this team though. I thought about or in this game, I thought about taking the defense, but then I see a better scenario with the New England Patriot defense. I wanted the roster A.J. Green, but it's like you said, this could get ugly quick. I see a lot of resting, a lot of stars sitting once they get up and get the game in hand. But like you said, Baltimore came out last week and punched Pittsburgh in the face. So We'll see. Everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the mouth.
Okay, Mike Tyson.
Yep, pretty much.
Sweet. Anything
Best
here
line
for
he's ever said, man.
Yeah, this is a disclaimer. I'm going to mention that A.J. Green absolutely kills the Ravens, as Bernie Lipscomb pointed out right before he caught about an 80-yard touchdown in week 3, I think it was. So this is A.J. McCarron. I'm not going to have any exposure to this game, but if I were, I'd maybe take a shot on Buck Javorius Allen, the running back for the Baltimore Ravens, because they're not going to, Ryan Mallett back there, they ain't throwing the ball 50 times.
No, hell no. Hell no. All right, let's see what else we got here. I guess this is a little bit, Houston has to win to lock up their division here today. So Jacksonville is a 6-point underdog going into Houston today, 45.5 over under. 77% of the bets are on the Texans in this one. Hey, I'm calling an upset here. Calling the upset. I think the Jags get it done today in Houston. We saw Blake Bortles was heavily owned last week. Look, I think this is a pretty good spot for him this week. The arsenal of weaponry that he's got on this team.
Yeah.
A-Rob, Hurns. I think one of these guys could be kind of productive today. Yeah, look, I know Houston has to win, but guess what? I have to have $1 million in my bank account tomorrow, and I don't have it. So this is my upset of the day right here: Jacksonville over the Texans.
I like, if there's going to be an upset that I'm calling, it's this game. I think you and Dave Zidek from the Wagner Wire also like this upset. I don't know, their defense looked pretty solid last week, brother. It's going to be tough. But like you mentioned, they definitely have some explosive weapons. So what do you think? You think you can see a barn burner pretty much with this game? You think you can see a little bit of Nuke and the two Allens, the brothers Allen, going off on Jacksonville Jaguars?
I think you could. I mean, look, A-Rob, Hurns, Julius Thomas. This is a great assault of weaponry coming Houston's way today. I think, they've been trying to run this ball with Denard Robinson. It ain't working. Yeldon back? Yeldon's not back today, is he?
No.
Even if he were, I don't even think it would matter. But yeah, it's going to be the Blake Bortles show. He's going to be throwing all over the joint. And, look, I'm not impressed by Houston at all,
Well, since you mentioned...
a lot of their wins, look, last week, yeah, they dominated, but they played a Zach Mettenberger-led Titans team, so...
Correct.
Ooh!
Correct. It's one of the things you mentioned, though, about the Texans. I do like Blue. Alfred Blue in this game, priced very low. I think he's around 4,000, maybe just under there at 37.
3,700, yep.
3,700. This guy, you're going to look to keep. Well, the Texans are going to look to keep that defense rested, especially it's a must-win for the Texans. They have to win. You're going to look to see them, I guess, keep the Blake Bortles show, the circus, off the mat, man. They don't want to have him on the battlefield. So I don't think they'll be trying to air it out too much. You've seen a lot of time of possession play for the Texans over the past couple of weeks. They've been eclipsing 100 yards the past couple of weeks. Look for them to ground and pound and try and control the time of possession of this game and keep that Jacksonville offense off the field. To me, that's the best way you win, is not let Blake Bortles throw to his magnificent wide receivers there.
Shout. Sweet, we got...
Al, what do you got for the total in this game?
45.5.
Yeah, I think I could go over. I think this could be the fantasy game of the day for sure.
For sure.
I'm going to disagree with both of you guys. I think the Texans are winning this game. The Jaguars were going to do all these great things to the Saints last week, and until they were down about 50 points, they didn't really do anything. So I think the Texans' defense is a little better than the Saints' defense. I'm gonna give it to the Texans there as far as winning this game. And the other thing is they do need to win this game, but if they don't, the Colts have to have like a 10-team parlay hit to make the playoffs. So I don't know. I like Nuke a lot in this game. I like Nuke Hopkins. I like Nate Washington in this game. I like Brian Hoyer. Even if you want to get crazy, do the triple stack. But yeah, both sides of the ball, there's a lot of fantasy goodness to be had in this game. I like the Blue call. That's a great call as well. Yeah, I like Blue. So I think this could definitely end up being the the game you want a lot of exposure to today.
You're my boy, Blue.
Yeah,
You're
and
my boy.
Hoyer back this week. Poor Brandon Whedon thought he found himself a new home. No, we're going with Hoyer this week.
He looked good. He looked good.
He looked all right. They had a lot of very simple play calls for him. But, with Hoyer back, definitely upgrades Hopkins to, one of, if not the top receiver on the slate this week. And
Hopkins,
indoors. So go ahead.
Hopkins is a guy that I think they're going to want to get him those stats because, him and a few other guys are just having ridiculous seasons where I think they're going to look to really pad that and give him a nice yardage total at the end of the year. They already do anyways. What's he see, like 13 targets a game or something? So I think he, probably maybe upwards of that. So I think if you can get the big receivers in your lineup today, I've got 3 absolute studs that are taking up over half of my budget in my wide receiver lineup today.
For sure. Look, I think we're on the same page here when we say that I think this is going to be a very sleeperish kind of fantasy game today. So definitely get some exposure in there, down in the Lone Star State.
I didn't know I picked the Jaguars to win. I thought I would win with the Texans. Yeah, that's the matchup I saw, man. I think the Texans.
Oh, I thought you said Jaguars to win.
No. Well, if I did, I didn't mean to say that.
Oh, you said Zidek did. My bad. You're right.
Yeah, Zidek. Yeah, I don't see it happening, man. I see a ground control type of game.
My bad.
That's all right.
I do.
Me and Wagner are smarter. Me and Wagner are smarter than Zidek and Al.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying.
I'll steer this ship solo right
Shots
there
fired.
in the Gulf of Mexico.
No, you're not the lone wolf. You're not the lone wolf out there.
All right, let's get to.
How fun would it be to have Michael Irvin on the damn show? That would be.
Oh man, tremendous!
Oh,
but we don't allow crack on the show, so.
Well, none of us would be able to get
We have a
away
White
with it.
House.
Yeah. Well, speak for yourself. Huh?
I already know what that feels like.
All right, 2 more games. 2 more fantasy relevant games I want to get to. They have 0 relevance to the playoffs. But let's start in Atlanta because New Orleans is there. Atlanta, the 5.5 point favorite, over under 52.5. That's basically 50-50 down the middle. But again, this is a game that doesn't mean a damn thing. But
2 teams that hate each other. That's about it.
well, we're going to see some fantasy fireworks. And for me in this one, it's Devonta Freeman. I said it last week. I like Devonta Freeman. He got in the end zone. Didn't have necessarily the greatest day. But, look, I really don't like paying up for running backs, but I think this is a spot that will definitely do it going up against New Orleans. Atlanta's got this home game, the final one, that, they basically stuttered and slipped and did every sort of thing that you don't want to do this season. I'd like them to come out very strong in this one, and Devonta Freeman going to have a heavy workload. Tevin Coleman's out for this one. There's a guy that backs up Devonta Freeman, but I don't know his name, and he's not even worth my time to click onto the next page to see what it is. So we're just going to not say his name. But, yeah, I love Devonta Freeman in this one today.
All right. Yeah, I mean, a lot of fantasy goodness to be had here. One guy that I think is going to surprise you guys is Roddy White. Zidek and I were talking a little bit. This is probably going to be his last game in uniform. But with Matt Ice, I'll say it one last time, Matt Ice throwing you the ball, anything can happen. When Matty Ice is bad, it's Matt Ice, all right? It's just I think Sweet made a terrible beer reference the other day to him or whatever.
Matthew Natural Ice.
Matthew Natural Ice, yeah.
Sweet.
That was pretty good. But when this guy's on, he's good. But I don't know. I'd like to see Roddy White go off and have a great day. I think he's definitely poised too. With New Orleans having one of the worst overall defenses in the NFL. It'd be nice. With no relevancy whatsoever for playoffs in the NFL. It'd be nice to have Matt Ryan, throw Roddy White the ball and have him ride out to the sunset because it's probably not going to be coming back in a Falcons uniform next year. Julio's going to get his looks for sure, but I definitely see Roddy White. It's just the story ending, salvage somewhat of a season for the Atlanta Falcons.
Would you say it's a Never-ending story for Roddy White.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay. Sweet. We like you.
My lock of the century of today is Julio Jones. Get this man in your lineups. Teams that are playing for nothing that have career records in their sights generally tend to just go for those records. And Julio Jones is 16 catches away from the all-time single-season record. They're going to he's going to get so many targets today. They have nothing to play for. We've already mentioned this. This is just a fantasy goodness game. So while Roddy White, he's cheap and everything, I mean, I just don't know how many targets are coming his way because Julio is getting 20 targets today, easy. He's also like 220, 240 from the receiving yards record that Calvin set a few years ago in a game in which they literally just force fed him the ball so he could get the record. So the same thing is going to happen here with Julio. If Matthew Natural Ice can go down to more of like a natural light today and not really go crazy with the interceptions, I think they're going to shoot for both of those records.
That is an excellent point. That is an astute observation, Christopher.
Yeah, so Devontae Freeman, while I think he definitely will have a good day, I'm just not paying up because I want to pay as little as possible for running back this week. And I want to get Hopkins, I want to get Brown, and I want to get Julio in my lineup.
Yeah,
that's a lot of points.
You know my motto. Fuck Lotto. No, but I love to pay low for the running backs, but I don't know. I like Freeman too much here in this matchup.
It's a great matchup.
Here's some other interesting factors for the Saints. According to FootballOutsiders.com, the Falcons are the worst team in the NFL going up against the wide receiver 2 and running back position. So that means Willie Snead and Tim Hightower, that's who would fall into those categories. So that's actually, definitely a cheaper play that you can go with there. I love the Matt Ryan to Julio Jones. Now, while you guys were talking Matty Natural Ice, or I had some other ones that I came up with. Matthew Ice Cube and Matty Crushed Ice.
Crushed Ice. Crushed Ice is a good one. Matty Crushed Ice.
Matty Unsweetened Iced Tea also.
Matty Light. He should just go to Matty Light from now on.
Hey, if you're watching the show and you can come up with some good Matt Ice fucking names, tweet them at us. We'd love to hear what you guys got to offer, man.
Oh yeah, we'll read them on air and everything.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, Bernie, if you're driving back from Poconos, hit us up.
Bernie, you were in the Poconos? You didn't even hit me up? What's up with that? I'm like an hour or two away. Actually, probably closer to 2. But...
A lot of stuff going down.
Yeah. All right, so one more game. We'll bring in our resident Giants advisor, Adam Wagner, here for this one. But Giants are 4-point favorites against the Chip Kelly-less Eagles. You like that? Over under 50.5 for this one. 73% of the bets are on the New York Football Giants. So, Wags, my favorite stack of the week is Eli to ODB. Am I wrong?
Well, no, I don't think you're wrong. I'm not. Well, yeah. You know what? It's a good pick. I don't have it in my lineup though. I just think there's a lot going around with this Giants offense. I'm gonna have people that are in my lineup that have relevancy in the NFL, but it's like you said, this guy. They want to end with a bang. You really think Odell Beckham Jr. wants to end his season off on a negative note? Seriously, that's an honest question. No, the answer's no. So he's going to come out. He's going to perform. Chris mentions about Julio Jones having a tremendous day today. OBJ has one as well. I just think Tom Coughlin's going to want to go out on a bang. He's going to want to run his style of offense, which is the running game. You see a lot of the ground and pound for the Giants. They're going to want to try and control this game and not allow that Eagles offense. If it does get going, it could be dangerous because the Giants are the worst in the NFL, allowing 298 yards. They're getting better. They're under 3. They're allowing just under 300 yards through the air. But once the Giants get on the field, if they're not running the ball, it's going to be a quick strike to OBJ. He'll probably have about 5 receptions today. 5 to 7, but he might be, 5 for 150, 3 touchdowns, so to speak. You know what I mean? Like he could be scorching this team. Maxwell can't stick this dude, man.
Hell no. Here's my thought process. If this is going to be Coughlin's last game, he wants fireworks. You're talking about him want to run the ball.
I think so. I mean, that was his style, man.
I'm sure they'll get there, but I do think that the Giants are going to come out very fired up for this one. Absolutely lay it on this Eagles team that, their identity has basically been stolen. Somebody took their credit card and went Christmas shopping with it. They're done. Like, these guys are done. So, I'm absolutely loving this Eli to Odell Beckham tandem today. Eli Manning's price on DraftKings has dropped to $5,600 now.
Jeez.
So, I think this is an unbelievable spot to get him. Him and ODB. I ain't going to call him OBJ like everybody else does. He is the old dirty Beckham. But, I absolutely love this matchup going against the Eagles secondary today. Just load it.
If the Eagles come out on fire and the Giants have to catch up, the Giants aren't going to want to lose on Coughlin's last game. That's a valid point. No, absolutely not. So if the Eagles come out, throwing the ball and chucking it, man, they're going to have to keep up, and then that scenario will play in. So, a lot of people like Rashad Jennings today at 3,700. It allows you to get huge and heavy receivers in your lineups. So we'll see. OBJ's a good play, man. Especially if it's a shootout. If it's a barn burner like we think it's going to be, then yeah.
All right.
The good news also, the good news for OBJ is the Philadelphia defense can only afford wiffle ball bats, so he won't get as scared before this game.
That's good.
Philadelphia allows 265 yards through the air. Maxwell's their best receiver. One of the worst mistakes Chip Kelly made was giving this guy a contract, man. Having Chip Kelly as a GM was just not the right play.
It didn't work out.
It didn't work out. No,
I have 1 year to do it. Look, he's going to go to Indy and be a beast now. I know everybody's talking about Tennessee, but I think Indy is where he's going.
What are these rumors? What is the scuttlebutt about this guy having some house up there, some real estate up there in New Jersey? Apparently he just bought a house or settled not too long ago. He's got,
Kelly?
Chip Kelly. There's talk that he might be going to the Giants or talking to on the sideline. Don't want it. I don't want it.
What happened is because Philly is basically in New Jersey, and he probably got a house down there in West New Jersey. I call Philly West New Jersey because that's basically what it is. All that separates us and Philly is a bridge and some water. So. Yeah, a lot of the athletes who live in Philadelphia, they have homes in New Jersey right out there, like in the Cherry Hill, Voorhees area, somewhere around that stuff. So.
Not Camden.
If they were, definitely not Camden. Maybe Maxwell lives there. That's why he's cross-eyed every week when he's playing. But these guys, they should live in Delaware. No state tax.
Hi, you're in Delaware.
Yeah, go live in Rehoboth.
Philly's very close to Delaware. You got to go over there, man. Dover's what's up. Delaware has their own Newark that isn't full of stabs and hypodermic needles.
Delaware gets you for $12 for driving 3 miles in their state.
Basically,
bastards.
They do. God, that's why I don't take 95, man. I go around.
They don't have a state tax, though. They don't have a state tax. That's what's up.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about some of this 4 o'clock goodness. We'll start off with our resident Chargers advisor. But the Denver Broncos hosting Sweet's Chargers today, 10-point favorites, total of 42, very ugly. Bets 50-50 on this one. So, Sweet, what are we looking at in this game?
Probably nothing, if you want to be honest. I don't know, man. I'm hoping Philip Rivers can do his best in sync impression and say bye, bye, bye to the Broncos' bye chances. But I'd love to see him, throw a few bombs at Malcolm Floyd and send him out, like I guess more than just a 12 catch receiver or whatever he's been this year. I don't know. I guess if you really want to take anyone in this game, you might look at C.J. Anderson or your favorite crappy receiver, Dontrell Inman, who's been getting a lot of targets lately and has actually been. He's still pretty cheap. He's actually been, delivering a little bit. So if you really got to grab somebody, or I mentioned earlier, this could be Antonio Gates' last game of the Charger because his contract is up. So maybe Philip decides give him a couple of looks in the red zone if they even get to the red zone. I will mention that the Broncos have lost to both of the other AFC West teams at home this year. So let's just make it a sweep. I'll consider this a successful season if they beat the Broncos and I get to see Philip Rivers in a bolo tie.
Oh, the bolo. Wags, anybody for you?
No, not out of this game, man.
Yeah. I think either C.J. Anderson or Ronnie Hillman's an interesting play here for the 4 o'clock only slate. Obviously the
Hillman's pretty cheap.
Yeah, so is C.J. Anderson too. It's just in that again, if you like to jump through rings of fire, then this is the game that you should be picking a running back in. It's just very tough. What are you going to take? You're going to take C.J. Anderson or Hillman. Hell, if you want to get real crazy, go with both. No, I do not advocate that one bit. But, yeah, C.J. Anderson.
Donald Brown, right?
What's up?
DB.
Donald Brown, right?
Donald Brown.
No.
He's still alive?
No.
He's starting for the Chargers, man. That's how great the Chargers season is.
No.
I wanted to see what that button on the sound effects did, and that's what it did.
Exactly.
All right,
yeah.
Perfect. It was
Denver
right
defense,
on cue.
Denver defense in this one, basically all I got for that. I was just trying to line up our resident advisor talks here. Now we can get back to real football.
Yeah.
There's nothing to advise.
Let's get to real football.
I advise you to look the other way.
For the last time this season, my Tampa Bay Buccaneers take the field. They are 10.5-point underdogs against Cam Newton and his Carolina Panthers, over under 44.5, and we have about 60% of the bets on the Panthers in this one. I don't want to be a homer, but I think this is going to be a lot closer of a game than we're talking. I don't think that they're going to pull out the upset, but I think that this could be a very ugly game here today. I'm thinking somewhere along the lines of like a 20-17 somehow, a couple defensive touchdowns in the mix. But basically what you got here is the current Cam Newton against the future Cam Newton in this one. Not saying that because they're both black quarterbacks. Just saying that because they absolutely remind me of each other. I feel like I have to do the racial disclaimer every time we talk about black quarterbacks.
Did Cam Newton steal crab legs earlier in his career?
He did not, but he was sort of an idiot.
I thought maybe that was.
But no, I mean, look, I think this will be a very highly competitive game. Again, I don't know what happened to the Bucs last week against the Bears. They just absolutely did not show up. But I mean, look, division game. You definitely want to ruin, whatever the Panthers have going on. Carolina loses and Arizona wins. Arizona would get the number 1 seed in the playoffs here. So, I mean, look, Cam Newton is a tremendous play today. I think the Panthers are down to Cameron Artis-Payne on their running back depth chart. So, I'm on board with Cam Newton in this one. I think it's going to be a little closer than a lot of people anticipate.
Yeah, again, I have no stock in this game either. I just think fantasy exposure is what I should say. I just think Cam's priced too high, especially if you want to get some of those wide receivers that we were talking about earlier, OBJ, Julio Jones, Antonio Brown. You can't go with Cam Newton here. You got to go with the cheaper quarterback. You can't go with Greg Olsen, third leg. I think third leg's going to have a tremendous day too, but you just can't go with these guys. They're priced too high, man. I do see your boys pulling up an upset, though. I really do. Call it here. I think the Bucs come out and shine, man. I think they want to play spoiler. I think they played well all year long, and because of some injuries and some mishaps, it hasn't been the play of Jameis Winston. He's looked tremendous, actually, for a rookie quarterback. Surprised the crap out of me. I think they want to end on a good note, and I think one way to do it is to knock off the Super Bowl, pretty much one of the Super Bowl favorites this year.
All right.
I'm telling you, man. I'm not saying it just because you're on the show, but I really believe it, man. I think week 17 is a week that anything can anything can happen on any week, but week 17 is just a wild card week, man. Look for it, man. Look for it to happen.
My whole thing is not necessarily all Bucks. I mean, the Panthers are missing a lot of guys here today, so I think there is value to be found. Sweet. I see you nodding your head. I think we're on the same page here.
I got a couple of good plays from this game. Number one, I'm going to stay on the Tampa Bay side of the ball. And I mentioned earlier about teams trying to get players' personal achievements. Well, Doug Martin is thick in the race for the rushing title. I think they're going to give him as many carries as he can handle today, especially if it dictates with the game where they either have a leader or close enough. The dude's averaging, I believe, over 5 yards a carry. I think you're going to see a big game out of him today because he's only, I think, 20 or 30, 40 behind AP for the league lead. Then on the other side of the ball, you mentioned players being out. Ted Ginn Jr. is out. So the starting receivers will be West New Jersey Brown, Philly Brown, and also Devin Funchess. So either of those guys will be very cheap on DraftKings. Definitely a good guy to throw in your flex, and you can afford all those higher price guys.
Absolutely. And Tampa Bay, 23rd against wide receivers this year in terms of DraftKings points. So, I mean, look, you're going to see a ton of targets.
That defense is better than that, though, man. I'm telling you, man. No, everybody sleeps on this Buccaneers defense.
Yeah, but you know what it is? They stop the run tremendously well, and then they get the ball thrown all over them. That's how it rolls. But, I mean, I know you talked about Olsen before. It might be a little too much. I disagree. I think, with all the receivers that are out today, and especially Tampa running the Tampa 2 defense, wide open middle of the field. I think Olsen is in for an absolutely monstrous game today. So I actually like him more than Gronk, to tell you the truth.
Damn. Well, I mean, no one knows their team's deficiencies better than the fans that follow them. So the resident advisors. So I mean, I definitely take your word on the third leg play.
They're gonna, like I said, pretty sure that they're gonna play the Panthers very close. But towards the end of the game, you're going to hear me say, "Lose it for the draft! Lose it for the draft!" That's basically all
I would love to do that, but my pride's going to want to beat the Philadelphia Eagles. Especially.
It sucks too. I have to watch this all season long with the Panthers. Like, they're the team that I hate the most in the NFL. Well, besides the Dallas Cowboys, but I hate all the teams in my division. But the Panthers just a tick more.
Right.
All right. Moving along. We got the Oakland Raiders and the Kansas City Chiefs. 7-point favorites are the Chiefs. Over under 43. 61% of the bets are on the Chiefs. Now, we talked about it earlier with the Chiefs playoff scenario going on here. I'm pretty sure that these guys want to stay there in the number 5 seed. They definitely want to win this game. If they stay in that 5 seed, they're likely going to take on the Texans in the first round. If not, they will take on, I believe, the Bengals, the way that it stands right now. So, fully expect the Chiefs to come out very good in this one. But look, don't sleep on the Raiders as well. I know Sweet was talking about, all these narratives today with the guys trying to achieve personal bests and whatnot. I believe Michael Crabtree, if he has 8 catches today, he gets to $300,000 bonus, something like that on his contract. So that's something else to look out for.
No, we're pulling out all the breaks now, man. Everybody's getting some money here.
Great observation.
Gotta leave it all alone. What did you say, sir?
That's a great observation. He's in my lineup as well.
Oh, very nice. You got the incentive lineup going for the Billy Baker, huh?
Yeah, man. I'm just thinking, it's week 17 time to swing for the fences, so I'm using all that incentive talk, trying to get my own incentive. You know what I mean?
I feel you. All right, so from this game, Charkandrick West is a guy that I like. I mean, we've been talking about him a lot on the show here the last couple of weeks. Anybody else that we should be looking at? Or if anybody wants to go in on the Charkandrick West anymore?
I think you got to have a little bit of some exposure to Jeremy Maclin in this game, with Oakland giving up 266 yards through the air per game. He and Alex Smith have found a nice little relationship there, and look for him to keep a nice little rhythm and stay hot going into the playoffs.
All right. Sweet.
I'm a little worried about Andy Reid if they get any kind of a sizable lead, just pulling everyone out, because Andy Reid loves to sit guys in Week 17. He loves it. I mean, I could even see him just doing it to do it, because he's like, who cares? We're in the playoffs. Andy Reid is a good coach, but sometimes he doesn't make a ton of sense.
Very
as as anyone who's ever watched his time management of timeouts can attest to. He just does some bonehead stuff sometimes. But we'll wait until next week to really see that take full effect, I'm sure. But yeah, Sharkendrick West, he's burned me too many times, so I'm not touching him this week. So everyone start him. He's probably going to have a great day. I'm not going to have any part of him. But yeah, I got Crabtree. I think I thought about Cooper too, but I think Crabtree is the one who really needs the incentives. I think he gets 112 yards. He would get to 1,000. Earlier in the year, it looked like a lock that him and Cooper were both going to hit 1,000, but he has seen more targets. He's a little cheaper, and I've got him in my flex position today.
Yeah, very interesting point there. Now, the good thing, very interesting point about Andy Reid and pulling stars and whatnot. But what we will see, or what the Chiefs will see before, is the result of the Jets game. So I think a lot of all that hinges on what happens there. So if the Jets lose, obviously, there's nothing that they have to do. They can just go in and, do their business.
Yeah, because they got the tiebreaker on the Steelers, right?
I believe so. Let's see here.
Yeah. They beat the Steelers.
Yes. So that would.
We need to mention the Steelers too.
That would work. What's up? We need to mention the Steelers.
We need to mention we haven't discussed the Big Ben theory, so to speak.
Okay.
Right.
All right. We'll wrap up the meaningful 4:00 games and St. Louis, San Francisco. I got a play here that I like. Rams 3-point favorites. Over/unders 39. How about some Trey Mason today? Since Todd Gurley's out
I was going to say good call.
Trey Mason down there at $3,000, the bare minimum, the bones, the bottom of the barrel, going up against this Niners defense that is atrocious against the run. So we're all on board with some Trey Mason.
I like Trey Mason, absolutely. Look at what San Francisco allowed last week on the ground. I actually had San Francisco as a steal, as a sleeper pick for their defense, but the first thing I did was I saw that St. Louis wasn't going to have Gurley in there, and then I was just like, oh yeah, it's gotta be a San Francisco type of play. They're going to steal it. It's going to be a nice steal to have down there with a defense priced at like 22 or 2,300. But then I got to thinking, I was like, Mason can run too, man. And then not to mention that they're going to have some misdirection with Tavon Austin as well. So with that elusiveness, being out there and being a concern. Mason could pound it up in the middle and get busy around the side as well. So Mason can run the ball. Let's not forget that before Gurley came, Mason was doing pretty impressive things. When Fisher was fishing, so to speak, looking for his running back.
And the line on this game is a little. I've noticed this a whole hell of a lot this year, but when the road team is a 3-point favorite, I've just seen it tons of times this year, but the Chiefs at the Chargers, Chiefs at the Raiders. Those are just a couple instances that I'm talking about. But I don't know, when a road team is a 3-point favorite going in there, and you got a low total here. So the Rams defense, nice play here today as well. Sweet, anything for you?
Yeah, you guys hit on Trey Mason. I've got $6,700 spent on my starting running back position this week. So total. So that's Trey Mason and a guy you kind of mentioned earlier. I didn't really touch on, Rashad Jennings, who's been quietly very good the last 3 weeks. That's my starting backfield this week, folks. So you're probably not gonna get too excited about it. You're not gonna dress it up in a bikini, call it sexy, anything like that. But that's what it is, and all I need to do is get value out of those guys, and I'll be happy with it.
15 points and you're set from each person, and you're set out of those guys.
Yeah, and then
15 points, and I'm doing a little hat dance.
So at receiver, are you running like Beckham, Hopkins, and Jones?
I've got the Beckham. I'm really trying to decide between Beckham and Hopkins, and I've got Jones and AB, who I think we said we'll talk about the Steelers here in a minute. I've got some more incentive talk with him.
All right.
So.
All right. All right. Well, just I guess real quick, Seattle, Arizona, big game for both teams. Not necessarily the greatest fantasy kingdom, although these two, the last time they played each other this season was a very high-scoring affair. I see quite the opposite today. But Arizona -6 favorite. Over/under is at 47, and bets 50-50 down the middle. Anybody from this game?
Nah.
I didn't like it too much. Sweet, anything?
I think this game stinks.
Yeah, I was trying to be nice. My New Year's resolution is to be, to be a little nicer and not to take that little northeastern out of me a little bit. Because you know how we like to tell people how we feel with no filter and everything.
Oh, I do. I do it all the time.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to be a little. No, this game sucks. I don't see this game happening. Look at that. What is that?
Yeah, I don't know. Hey, more. It's not really.
This is a glory.
Because he should basically do it for just breathing and dressing up today, but Doug Baldwin needs 2 catches for a significant bonus. So.
Well, he'll get that, but
yeah.
This is a glorified preseason game.
Yeah, that's all this is.
Is it
It's going to be Vanilla City?
The glory
hole. The glory hole preseason game.
The glory hole bowl. Perfect.
Hey man, we went about 55 minutes without a glory hole reference, so that's pretty good for us.
That is a new record. All right, let's get to this.
So will the glory hole become the new Easter egg? Is that the egg?
Yeah, glory hole's in 2016.
Yeah,
oh,
I mean, we were trying to.
2016 is coming up all glory hole.
We were trying to put it on the pedestal there at the end of 2015, so that we could just run right into 2016 with it. So we're looking
right.
Good. All right, let's get to the Steelers-Browns game that you guys want so much. I'm sorry, I meant to bring this up in the 1 o'clock. Steelers 11.5-point favorites. 46.5 is our over/under. 89% of the bets on the Steelers today. So. Austin Davis is in for the Browns. I know that's who you guys are going with the quarterback today, right?
Yep. Absolutely.
Him or Josh Freeman.
All right. Let's talk about this Big Ben theory for a second. Introduce me.
All right, so the Big Ben theory is that he's just a badass, right? The guy stands tall, he sits firm in the pocket, and he wants to shine. Well, he didn't
does
do
what he
so
wants
well.
in bathroom stalls too. But go ahead.
Exactly. You mentioned another glory hole reference there. No, but this guy he pitched a terrible game last game. So look for this guy to come out and punch Cleveland in the mouth. They have to win. Regardless, hands down, Pittsburgh's playoffs begin today, and Pittsburgh does well when they're in the playoffs. Look for Antonio Brown to have an impressive game against the Cleveland defense, only allowing 244 yards to the air, but still, another guy that I like to have with a tremendous game is DeAngelo Williams. I know we mentioned not to pay up for this for running backs, but DeAngelo Williams with the Cleveland Browns allowing 135 yards on the ground. Look for them to get in charge of this game and take charge quick. Once they have that going their way, you see a lot of ground and pound from the Steelers for time of possession. Haley's going to want to run this ball out completely, run the clock out completely. See DeAngelo Williams going over 100 yards, 2 touchdowns today. Big day for Antonio Brown and DeAngelo Williams.
All right, sweet, we got.
Yeah, I'm all on the Antonio Brown bandwagon as well. I mentioned I'm not paying up for running backs. If you do want to pay up for running backs, I think Devontae Freeman and DeAngelo Williams are the 2 guys that you can rest easy if you do pay up for them. I think they're going to deliver huge today. I'm just not going that route. I'm not saying that it's a bad idea, but Antonio Brown, he is 20 catches away from the record, and he's only 6 catches away from his previous record, which is number 2 of all time for right now. And He can't. I don't think he can make the yardage, but who knows? He could have a 350-yard day in him. Who knows? But
Dude, let me tell you something. If Roethlisberger played all year, Antonio Brown would have
he'd already have the record.
Crushed that record.
Yeah, freaking Michael Vick. Thanks a lot for nothing. Yeah, so that's who I like in this game. I'm not going to touch Austin Davis this week. Maybe in another lifetime. Probably
Why not,
though.
man? Well, jeez.
I mean, hey, Pittsburgh's defense is pretty bad against the pass, so someone wants to grab their sack and whip it out and millionaire maker, go for it. It might work out, but I'm not going to be that guy.
I thought you liked to skydive and jump through rings of fire, sweet. What's up?
Well, I had Isaiah Crowell in my lineup earlier this week, and I decided I didn't have a big enough set to do that, so I pulled him out.
All right. Hey, enough joking aside on this Cleveland defense. How about big game?
How about what?
Big
game Gary?
Carnage.
Well, I mean,
big game Gare.
If you're gonna have anybody any exposure from this game, it's got to be big game Gary. Maybe some Benjamin too, but I just don't like the quarterback. I don't like the guy that's giving the ball, chucking the rock. Austin Davis threw a nice little strike to on a skinny post to Benjamin earlier in the year, right? before Johnny came back. Before John Football came in.
Johnny
iPad.
Yeah, Johnny could. Yeah, he slammed. Hey, nice tablet. Anyways. This guy just can't get out of his own way, man. Come on.
That whole thing is just such BS. Like, more video came out of him during the week, and I think Pettin probably slammed his head against the wall because he's so fed up with him. So.
Quite possible. Anyway,
the Cleveland Bar should do some good business in about 4 hours when his season's over. I'm sure he'll go right to the bar.
Yeah, he'll be right back to drink.
Shots of Corvo.
Hey, Johnny, hit me up. I'm thirsty as hell today, so what's about it? All right.
But yeah, I like big game Gary. He could go off against this Pittsburgh Steelers defense. We all know that they don't do well.
Oh yeah.
They allow 278 yards to the air. So the Steels could be, or the Steelers sleeper could be big game Gary and Benjamin, but I'm just a little reluctant with Austin Davis at the helm there.
Hey, shitty quarterback, best friend, tight end. Write that down. I don't have a pencil. I'll remember that then.
Make that a tattoo over your right shoulder blade. That's where it's got to go, man. Nice little scripture.
All right.
That's a good quote.
All right. One more game.
It's got to be your right shoulder blade though, not your left.
One more game on the slate. It is for the NFC North division. Now, if you're playing the Millionaire Maker, I would recommend that you have somebody in this game. I don't know who. We'll get to that, but you want to be on the offensive here in the final week of the season. So somebody somewhere got to get some points for you here. I understand it's not the most visually appealing fantasy matchup, but I think I got a guy that can get it done for us today. All right, so the Vikings, they come into Lambeau today. They are only a 3-point underdog. Ooh, that's interesting. 44 is our total, and 58% of the bets are on the Green Bay Packers. 3-point favorites are the Packers. This is scary. This is scary news for Green Bay fans, but I got to tell you, with that being said, I kind of like Minnesota in this one. But my favorite fantasy play from this one, the hooded man at wide receiver, James Jones.
Yeah.
Believe he's only running you about upwards of 4,400, I want to say, on DraftKings. But I like him this week. I think he's gonna definitely be available to get out there in that secondary against Minnesota, and especially if Minnesota. God damn, I can't stop looking at this line and seeing Minnesota cheering at the end of the game. But the line hasn't changed all week. It's been stuck at 3. I think a lot of other people are feeling the same way I am right now.
I can see a lot of Adrian Peterson in this game, brother. I can see a lot of Adrian Peterson. Minnesota needs to win, man. This is heavy. This is huge, dude. Well, I mean, they're all in, but it's nice to have the division, the division championship instead of the wild card. So either way, man, I see a lot of offense, especially coming from the Minnesota Vikings, and it's got to come from the ground. I got burned last week from the passing attack. I thought Teddy B and Diggs were going to hook up. I don't think that Diggs is going to be able to bust this Green Bay defense open. It's going to have to come from the ground, and that's where Adrian Peterson steps in.
Jesus. Sweet, we got.
Yeah, the only guy I like, and I told you I'm not paying up, is AP this week. I think he's the other guy who's up for the rushing title. They have more to play for, obviously, so it's not like they're just going to give him carries, but he's their best offensive player anyway, so. Yeah, I think if you're going to pay up, that's another guy. There's just a lot of good high-price options this week, and I'm just going the wide receiver route. As far as other guys in this game, I don't know. I don't feel real strong about anybody.
Cobb has been burning me lately, man. I don't know what's going on there.
Cobb is a buy low in the offseason if you're in dynasty leagues because he can't be this bad. I think it's when Jordy gets back, I think all will be right again. So, yeah, that's my 2 cents. I wouldn't go for this game unless, like you said, Al, you just want the late night bullet to finish off the night.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know. I'm looking at it now and I'm like, Jesus Christ, this is not good. What about big game Rich Rod,
Yeah, Rich Rod.
His price is getting up there though now, man. They're starting to. He was really nice when he was down there at 29.
How about this? Since the Hail Mary catch in Detroit, he has a combined 3 catches for 12 yards.
Oof.
Pay up.
Yeah. Buy low. Hopefully they forgot it. I don't know. James Jones probably the only guy I'm going with from that game, but I'm telling you, that 3-point spread right there, that is disaster written all over it for Green Bay. I think Minnesota's going to win this one outright. So, that's going to be funky. All right. We're all done with the games. Anybody got any closing thoughts before we get down to these last couple minutes of lineup making?
Absolutely, man. Who's the biggest bust this year in fantasy football? So, all right, let's put it in season long references, right? So in season long references, the guy that you picked in the first round that just did not produce whatsoever.
I mean, I had Antonio Brown in my first round. I guess busts, overall, I guess you'd have to say C.J. Anderson.
Yeah. I was going to say Dez Bryant.
But it's not all his fault.
Well, no, but I mean, the injuries part of the bust. I mean, that factor into the bust. So
Eddie Lacy.
He's a big one.
That's my worst first-round bust this year.
Let's start a poll. I don't know how to generate a poll, but any viewers watching, on your screen, tweet in at us. Who is the biggest bust that you think in fantasy football? And
C.J. Anderson's up there.
Yeah, he's got to be. He's one of them. And then, while we're on it, to counter it, who is the best gem that people have found this year?
What if you took Andrew Luck in the first round? He was a giant bust. I mean, he got hurt, but
absolutely.
He was the number 1 quarterback off the board this year.
But who takes quarterbacks in the first round, though?
Not people
that are winning their titles.
Right.
Amateurs. That's who takes it. Yeah, I have no other poll question.
Right. Yeah, I think it's man, I just think it's God damn. I mean, to pay up to go ahead and get a quarterback in the first round, I think that's just insane, man.
Yeah,
it's very insane.
If you're gonna do best values, it'd probably be between someone like Allen Robinson, who was probably more like a 4th or 5th round pick, or someone like Devontae Freeman, who you might have been able to pick up off your wire, end up as the running back 1 in most leagues.
Yeah. D'Angelo Williams or David Johnson.
D'Angelo.
The number 1
big
find
game
for
big game Gary Barnidge too.
He
Good
was a
game
waiver
theory.
wire guy.
Big time, big time. Well, with fantasy football season long being irrelevant and everything, and you're having a tough time, navigating with the budgets of DFS. Check out U Stadium, man. It's a tier system with DFS platform. Check it out. Download the app. You can find them on Twitter. It's pretty easy. Small U, capitalize that stadium, put it together. U Stadium. Check them out, man. Give them a follow. Also, follow me at the Wagner Wire. It's probably Chris is on there. Al comes on and does these shows, and we put some stuff on there as well. Dave Zidek hits it up. Talks about his little just a tip type of deal. Big things coming in the future for 2016 is coming up. All the Wagner Wire, Al Walsh DFS, Chris Sweet DFS. That's just what it's going to be, baby. It's going to be a big year for all of us, man. I had a tremendous year with you guys. I thought this was amazing. Yeah. Big things are happening. Bill Parsons at Maximum Fantasy Sports. Can't forget to mention you, dude. Thank you so much for all that you have done for us. With helping get the Wagner Wire shirts out there, showing Al and I a tremendous time up at the DFS PC 2015.
Hey,
it's just been great, man. Time. What's that?
Hey, we showed him a good time.
We did. I mean, I hope we did. I hope we showed him a good time. But I mean, this guy, he was a tremendous host in New York for us, man. Just an awesome guy to do. We're gonna move our season-long. Every season-long fantasy football, commission league that I run, we're going to move that over to Maximum Fantasy Sports because I enjoy the three-player trade. I think that's a tremendous, just a tremendous asset to have, an awesome tool to have as a platform for fantasy sports. It gets every manager involved. It's a dynamic tool, so to speak, and not to mention we have a champion for the Maximum Fantasy Sports, Chris Sweet, man. So can you reflect a little bit and put in Bill Parsons' league there?
Yeah, I really enjoyed Maximum Fantasy. Most of it revolves around me just absolutely dominating, having a team the likes of which no one has ever seen before. Antonio Brown, Rob Gronkowski, Brandon Marshall, Allen Robinson. That means there's guys on my bench I couldn't really play, like Jarvis Landry, John Brown, guys like that. Todd Gurley. I had Carson Palmer and Drew Brees at quarterback. So, I did okay.
Just admirable villains.
Yeah, just your average run-of-the-mill guys. Oh, Mike Evans, too. He didn't really see the field much. He started a few times, but that's another guy. I couldn't really get him in my lineup,
Mm-hmm.
Well, I enjoyed it. I know I enjoyed playing on
MaximumFantasySports.com.
So, everybody out there that's watching, if you're sick of Yahoo, and all the other big sites that, they kind of, jack up the stats every now and then, and it's just the interface is not, what you want or whatever, and you're looking for something new, you're looking for a good time, man, check out MaximumFantasySports.com. They got game, for sure. That's their motto.
So. What are they, the WNBA? Huh?
Yeah, they got a lot.
We got next.
All right, that'll do it. You can check me out on my website, alwalshdfs.com. Also, Twitter at alwalshdfs. Sweet, you can find him at the Chris Sweet. And any closing words for the NFL season?
Yeah, my closing words are I slacked here in the last few weeks with the holidays and didn't get a column out. I just want to let everyone know starting this week I'm going to have playoff columns up on the WagnerWire.com. I'm gonna break down who's going to win the games, going to give you picks and all that. So
it'll be dope.
Check it out.
We're going to also be transitioning into a little bit of NHL. I'm going to put some NHL columns out there, start focusing on some Barclays Premier League as well. Hopefully get a little more NBA flow, try and bogart some of Al's, try and steal some of Al's
you got
articles and get them down on the site, man. Spread the love, spread it, get my stuff out there on his site, and I don't know, man, make it a ecosystem of nothing but DFS articles, so to speak. So it's gonna be good. Like I said, man, 2016 coming up, all DFS Big Three, baby.
For sure. Hey, also too, if you're playing NBA today, Twitter, let me know. I got the good stuff. So Lego. All right, that'll do it for all of us. We shall see you in cyberspace. We're doing playoff shows, right? Yeah,
absolutely, yeah.
Hell yeah.
See.
See. All right, we will see you Wednesday night again for the NFL. We are
Later.
the 3 DFS show.